I need to tell this story before they take away my internet access. I'm 32 years old. I'm writing this from a farm in rural Montana that I'm not allowed to leave. There are news articles about me. Vice did a piece titled, "The Man Whose Depression is Contagious." Netflix contacted my lawyer about a documentary. I'm not sick, I'm not dangerous, I'm just aware. Let me start from the beginning. By the time I was 30, I'd accomplished everything I'd set out to do. I had the career. Senior software engineer at a Fortune 500 company, $240K salary, stock options, the whole package. I had the relationship, married to Emma, my college sweetheart, genuinely in love. I had the house in a good neighborhood, the car that was nice but not obnoxious, the 401K that was properly diversified. I'd checked every box society told me to check. And then one morning I woke up and thought, now what? Not in an excited way, in a profoundly empty way. I lay in bed next to my sleeping wife in our beautiful house and felt absolutely nothing. Not sad, not happy, just blank. I got up, I made coffee. I went to my home office for another day of work, and the thought wouldn't leave me alone. What's the point? Not in a suicidal way. I didn't want to die. I just couldn't figure out why I was supposed to keep doing any of this. I worked to make money to buy things I didn't need. I maintained relationships that would end when I died. I pursued goals that would be meaningless the second my brain stopped firing. Everything was just killing time until I died. And when I died, it would all disappear. Every memory, every achievement, every moment, gone, like I never existed. The thought sat in my brain like a stone. I tried to shake it off. I thought maybe I was burned out. Maybe I needed a vacation. Emma and I went to Greece. It was beautiful. We had amazing food, saw incredible sights, took photos for Instagram. And the whole time, I kept thinking, we're just distracting ourselves from the fact that we're temporary. We're spending money we worked years to earn on a week of distraction from the void. I couldn't enjoy anything. Emma noticed, "Are you okay? You seem distant." I said I was fine, but I wasn't fine. I started thinking about it constantly. At work, during meetings, I'd zone out thinking, we're building software that will be obsolete in 5 years for a company that will be forgotten in 50, and we're all going to die anyway. During dinner with friends, we're eating food that will become waste, having conversations we'll forget, pretending any of this matters. During sex with my wife, we're executing biological programming, a temporary chemical experience in bodies that are already decaying. I know how this sounds, trust me. I thought maybe I was depressed, so I did what you're supposed to do. I found a therapist. Her name was Dr. Patricia Owens. She had a PhD, 15 years of experience, excellent reviews. I booked an appointment. First session, I explained how I was feeling, the emptiness, the meaninglessness, the sense that everything was just elaborate distraction from oblivion. She nodded thoughtfully, took notes, asked clarifying questions. Do you have thoughts of harming yourself? No, I don't want to die. I just don't understand why I'm supposed to want to live. She gave me some initial thoughts, cognitive behavioral therapy approaches, reframing exercises. She said we'd work on it together. I came back 2 weeks later for my second appointment. She looked tired. Her office, which had been neat before, was cluttered. She had dark circles under her eyes. We started talking. I elaborated on my thoughts, the futility of achievement, the inevitability of entropy, the cosmic insignificance of human existence. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Can I be honest with you?" Of course. I've been thinking about what you said during our last session, about how we're all just killing time, and I can't stop thinking about it. I've been lying awake at night thinking about my career. I've spent 20 years helping people find meaning and overcome challenges, and for what? So they can feel better about the fact that they're going to die. so they can be productive members of a society that will collapse eventually anyway. What am I even doing? I stared at her. She continued, her voice cracking slightly. I have 2 kids. I love them, but why did I have them? To pass on my genes, so they can also struggle through existence and then die. I brought 2 people into a world of suffering and meaninglessness because it's what you do. Dr. Owens. Patricia, call me Patricia. What's the point of titles? What's the point of my PhD? I spent 8 years studying how to help people cope with existence, but I never questioned why we're supposed to cope. What if coping is the problem? The session went over time. I left feeling worse than when I arrived, and guilty, like I'd broken something in her. 2 days later, I got a call from her practice. Dr. Owens was taking an indefinite leave of absence due to personal matters. They offered to transfer me to another therapist in the practice, Dr. James Chen. I hesitated, but Emma was worried about me, so I agreed. Dr. Chen seemed more robust, younger, energetic, one of those therapists who projects confidence and optimism. First session went fine. He listened. He had strategies, mindfulness, gratitude practices, finding purpose through connection. Second session, I went deeper. I talked about the heat death of the universe, about how even if humanity survives for 1,000,000 years, eventually entropy wins. The universe will end. Every single thing anyone has ever done will be erased. Bach, Shakespeare, Einstein, all of it will be gone, forgotten, like it never happened. Dr. Chen tried to redirect. But we're not living for the heat death of the universe. We're living for today, for our relationships, for. But why? I interrupted. Why does today matter if tomorrow doesn't matter? Why do relationships matter if they end? We're just biological machines convincing ourselves that our temporary chemical reactions are meaningful so we don't go insane. But they're not meaningful. They're just happening. He was quiet. I continued. You became a therapist to help people, but you're going to die. Your patients are going to die. Everyone you've ever helped is going to die and forget they were helped. Your entire career is sand through fingers. He cleared his throat. I think we should explore where these thoughts are coming from. They're coming from reality. I'm not delusional. I'm just not deluding myself anymore. Everyone else is just really good at pretending that getting up and going to work and paying bills and watching Netflix matters. But it doesn't. None of it matters. The session ended tensely. I came back for my 3rd appointment. Dr. Chen looked like he hadn't slept. His usually neat appearance was disheveled. His eyes were red. Are you okay? I asked. He laughed, a hollow laugh. No, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay since our last session. What happened? I went home. I looked at my wife, my kids, my house, my career, and all I could think was, what's the point? What am I doing? I'm getting up every day going through motions for what? To die, to watch everyone I love die. My stomach dropped. Dr. Chen. James, I'm not your doctor anymore. I can't be anyone's doctor. I called my supervisor this morning. I told her I need a leave of absence. She asked why. I said I'd had an existential crisis. She said everyone has those. I said, not like this. He looked at me with something between fascination and horror. You did this. You showed me something I can't unsee. I left feeling like I'd committed a crime. 3 days later, Dr. Chen's wife called me. I don't know how she got my number, probably from his files, which is definitely a violation. She was crying. What did you say to my husband? We just talked. I was his patient. He won't get out of bed. He won't eat. He just lies there talking about how nothing matters and we're all going to die anyway. He won't even look at our kids. He says he can't stop thinking about how they're going to die someday. What did you do to him? I didn't do anything. I was honest about how I feel. Well, your honesty destroyed my family. He was fine before he met you. She hung up. I told Emma everything. She looked at me with concern. Maybe you shouldn't see any more therapists. Yeah, I think you're right. But Dr. Chen's wife had reported me to some kind of board. I don't even know which one. She claimed I'd psychologically damaged her husband, that I was dangerous. 2 weeks later, the police showed up at my house. They arrested me, actual handcuffs. They read me my rights. What am I being charged with? I asked. We're not sure yet. We'll figure it out at the station. At the police station, I sat in an interrogation room for 3 hours. Finally, a detective came in. Detective Morris. He looked confused. So, you're the guy who broke 2 therapists. I didn't break anyone, I just talked to them. About what? About life, about meaning, about existence. And they both had breakdowns. I guess. He stared at his notes. Your house is nice, you have a good job, you're married, what's your problem? I don't have a problem, that's the problem. I have everything I'm supposed to want and it's all meaningless. He blinked, that's it, you're sad because you're successful. I'm not sad, I'm just aware. He left, came back an hour later with the prosecutor, a woman named Linda Vasquez. She sat down across from me. Okay, help me understand. You went to therapy, you talked. 2 therapists ended up unable to work. What exactly did you say? So I told her everything, the meaninglessness, the futility, the inevitability of death and the erasure of everything we do. She listened, took notes. Her expression shifted from professional to uncomfortable. But people deal with these thoughts all the time, she said. Existentialism is a whole philosophical movement. Right, but most people deal with it by not thinking about it, by staying busy, by convincing themselves their work matters, their relationships matter, their legacy matters. But it doesn't. Not really. Not in any permanent sense. She was quiet. Even you, I continued. You're a prosecutor, you put people in prison, you think you're serving justice, but you're going to die. Everyone you've prosecuted is going to die. The entire legal system is going to die. In 200 years, no one will remember a single case you worked on. In 1,000 years, they won't remember your country existed. In 1,000,000 years. Stop, her voice was sharp. Just stop. But I could see it in her eyes. The crack, the doubt. She left. They kept me overnight. No charges filed. They didn't know what to charge me with. The next morning, Linda Vasquez came back. She looked like she hadn't slept. I'm releasing you. We can't charge you with anything. You didn't threaten anyone. You didn't harm anyone. You just talked. Are you okay? I asked. She laughed bitterly. No, I went home last night. I looked at my case files, 30 years of cases, thousands of hours, and I thought, why? So people can feel like justice was served. Justice doesn't exist. It's a concept we made up to feel like we have control, but we don't. We're all just temporary and everything we do is equally meaningless. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, you're right. That's the problem. You're completely right and I hate that you're right. She processed my release. As I was leaving, she said, I'm putting in my resignation today. What? I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend sending people to prison matters. I can't pretend any of this matters. I went home. Emma was waiting. She'd seen the news. Apparently, word had gotten out. Local man causes existential crises was a headline on some blog. We need to figure this out, she said. People think you're dangerous. I'm not dangerous. You make people depressed by talking to them. That's like being contagious. And that's when I realized I was contagious. Not biologically, mentally, philosophically, whatever you want to call it. I had stumbled onto something true, something so true that once people really heard it, really understood it, they couldn't unhear it. Most people go through life with blinders on. They focus on the small stuff, the next goal, the next vacation, the next accomplishment. They don't zoom out and see the big picture because the big picture is horrifying. But I'd zoomed out, and I couldn't zoom back in. And anyone I talked to honestly, openly about this, they couldn't zoom back in either. I was like patient zero for existential despair. Emma started crying. I can't talk to you anymore. Every conversation we have, I start thinking about what you're thinking about, and I can't. I can't live like that. She moved out 2 weeks later. The news spread. Vice ran their piece. Reddit had a thread about me. People were fascinated and horrified. Dr. Owens ended up in psychiatric care. Dr. Chen eventually recovered but never practiced again. Linda Vasquez moved to Vermont and started a pottery business. A research psychologist from Stanford contacted me. She wanted to study me. We think you might have a rare form of communicable ideation. Your thought patterns are so coherent and persuasive that they override normal psychological defense mechanisms in others. So I'm mentally contagious. In a manner of speaking, yes. The government got involved, not officially, but I received a strongly worded request to isolate myself. So I bought a farm, Montana. Middle of nowhere. I live alone, I grow vegetables, I have chickens, I read a lot. I'm not allowed to do interviews. I'm not allowed to have a podcast. There's a clause in the agreement I signed that prohibits me from publicly disseminating philosophically destabilizing content. But I can write this, and I can post it once. Here's what I've learned living alone on this farm for the past 18 months. Nothing I thought was wrong. Life is meaningless in the cosmic sense. We are all going to die. Everything we do will be forgotten eventually. But here's the thing, so what? I spent my 20s chasing goals because I thought achieving them would make me happy. They didn't, because happiness isn't a destination. It's not something you unlock by checking boxes. Happiness is a side effect of being present, of doing things you enjoy, not because they matter in some cosmic sense, but because you enjoy them. I grow tomatoes. Tomatoes are meaningless. In 100 years, no one will care about my tomatoes, but I like growing them. The process is satisfying. The tomatoes taste good. I read books, fiction mostly, made-up stories about made-up people, completely meaningless, but I enjoy the experience of reading them. I have a dog now. Her name is Entropy because I have a dark sense of humor. She's going to die someday. That's devastating. But right now, she's here and she's happy, and watching her chase a ball brings me joy. The problem was never that life is meaningless. The problem was that I thought life was supposed to have meaning, that there was some cosmic purpose I was supposed to discover, some grand plan I was supposed to fulfill. But there isn't, and that's okay. We're temporary biological organisms on a temporary planet in a temporary universe. Nothing we do will matter in the end. But it matters now to us in this moment. The mistake I made, the mistake I accidentally taught 2 therapists and a prosecutor, was thinking that if something doesn't matter forever, it doesn't matter at all. But that's not true. My tomatoes matter to me today, even though they'll be gone tomorrow. My dog matters to me now, even though she'll die someday. The book I'm reading matters to me in this moment, even though I'll forget most of it. Emma mattered to me, even though our marriage ended. Dr. Owens and Dr. Chen mattered, even though I accidentally broke them. Linda Vasquez matters, even though she quit her job. Everything is temporary. That doesn't make it meaningless, it makes it precious. I can't explain this to people in person anymore. The moment I start talking, they get infected with the despair. They see the void and they can't look away. But living here alone, with my chickens and my dog and my garden, I figured something out. You have to see the void first. You have to understand that nothing matters in the cosmic sense. But then you have to come back. You have to choose to engage with life anyway. Not because it matters forever, but because it matters now. Most people never see the void. They live their whole lives in comfortable delusion, and that's fine. Ignorance is bliss, truly. Some people see the void and can't come back. They get stuck in the despair. That's what happened to the therapists. But a few people, a very few, see the void and come back anyway. They understand that life is meaningless and they choose to live it fully anyway. That's where I am now. I'm not happy in the way I thought I'd be happy when I achieved all my goals. I'm not fulfilled in some grand, cosmic sense. But I'm content, I'm present, I appreciate the small things. And I can't share this realization with anyone in person, because apparently my philosophical insights are a contagious mimetic hazard. So I'm sharing it here, in text, where it's safer. If you're reading this and feeling the despair creeping in, the sense that nothing matters and we're all just killing time until we die, you're not wrong. But you're also not seeing the whole picture. Yes, we're temporary. Yes, everything ends. Yes, nothing we do will matter in 1,000,000,000 years. But right now, in this moment, you exist. You're conscious. You can experience joy, connection, meaning, even if it's temporary. The universe doesn't care about you, that's true. But you can care about you. You can care about the people around you. You can care about your tomatoes or your dog or your stupid little hobbies. Not because they matter cosmically, but because they matter to you now. That's enough. It has to be enough. Because it's all we have. I'm going to post this and then go feed my chickens. They're just chickens. They don't matter in any grand sense, but they're my chickens and they're hungry, and feeding them brings me a small moment of satisfaction. And that's enough. If you read this and feel the void opening up beneath you, close this tab. Go look at something beautiful, pet a dog, eat something delicious, call someone you love. Don't think about it too hard. Trust me, I'm the guy they quarantined on a farm because my existential dread is contagious. Just live, that's all any of us can do. Just live.